Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're unpacking a feeling that's incredibly common but often left unspoken, a paradox many of us grapple with. I am ambitious but lazy.
Right.
This might sound like a direct contradiction at first glance, kind of internal tug-of-war.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've ever found yourself with grand visions and big dreams, yet struggling to translate that powerful desire into consistent, tangible action, well, you know exactly the friction we're talking about.
Absolutely. It resonates with so many people.
We've received some truly fascinating sources that cut right to the heart of this universal human experience.
Yeah, they really do.
Our mission today is to thoroughly explore what this feeling truly means, delve into the deeper psychological and practical reasons why it happens, understand its profound impact on your life,
And crucially, yeah.
and, most importantly, equip you with actionable strategies to bridge that gap, turning your powerful ambition into real, daily progress. Okay, let's begin to unpack this intriguing challenge.
What's truly illuminating about our sources is just how universal this experience actually is. This feeling of being ambitious, yet finding yourself sort of stuck in inertia.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It transcends age, geography, current life circumstances. Across various backgrounds and situations, people around the world grapple with this exact dynamic.
Right.
They nurture magnificent dreams. Maybe it's mastering a new language, launching an innovative business, advancing their career, or significantly improving their physical and mental well-being.
Big goals.
Huge goals. Yet they often feel this inexplicable pull towards inaction. They report feeling tired, profoundly unmotivated, or sometimes even paralyzed by an unacknowledged fear.
That fear factor is big.
It really is. So this deep dive isn't about casting judgment or pointing fingers. It's really about fostering a profound understanding of this internal struggle.
Right. Understanding, not judging.
Exactly. And crucially, providing you with a practical toolkit to break free from this cycle and genuinely make progress toward those cherished ambitions.
To truly understand this paradox, let's maybe start by establishing a clear foundation for our terms. What exactly do we mean when we talk about ambition?
Good place to start.
Our sources offer a concise yet powerful definition. It is the strong desire to achieve something, to become successful, to improve your life.
That core desire.
It's that deep-seated longing for more, the vision of a better future for yourself. This isn't just, a fleeting wish or a casual thought. It's a powerful internal drive.
Right. It's got energy behind it.
Think about wanting a better job, desiring fluent English to study abroad, dreaming of starting your own successful business, or embarking on a life-changing journey around the world.
Yeah, concrete things.
These are not just vague aspirations. They are specific, deeply felt goals that you genuinely want to reach, like, say, the commitment to becoming a medical professional or nailing a high-stakes exam like IELTS or TOEFL.
Exactly. It's the engine that sparks that initial thought of, yes, I can do this.
Right.
It provides purpose and kind of acts as a compass guiding your potential trajectory.
Ambition, as you've put it, is indeed the fundamental force that propels individuals to conceptualize a future state better than their present,
Yeah, to think about improvement.
and to consider the steps necessary for that improvement. It instills a sense of purpose and serves as the primary catalyst for forward movement in life.
Definitely. Without this drive, existence can feel stagnant, monotonous, or, devoid of direction.
Totally stuck.
Consider the internal monologue. One day, I will relocate to another country and immerse myself in a new culture. Or, I am determined to deliver a persuasive presentation entirely in English without hesitation. That very thought process is ambition articulating itself. It represents your mind signaling a profound yearning for something more, something intrinsically better for your personal growth or circumstances.
It's that belief in possibilities.
Precisely. This conviction in possibilities, this intrinsic fire that illuminates your path, is what empowers you to look at your current life and affirm, yes, I possess the capacity to achieve this.
And this is the big but.
Here it comes.
This leads us to a critical question. If ambition is such a potent, constructive, and inspiring force, capable of igniting belief and fostering vision, why do so many individuals, despite possessing immense ambition, struggle so profoundly to translate it into consistent action?
Yeah, what's the disconnect? What is it about this powerful internal engine that so often idles when it should be accelerating?
That's where it truly gets fascinating, isn't it? Ambition is that powerful, almost visceral feeling that urges you forward, whispering, yes, I can do this. Keep going. Don't stop.
It gives you that initial boost.
It provides that initial burst of energy, making even the most daunting goals seem attainable, at least in concept. It's the blueprint, the vision board, the grand strategy.
Well, the planning stages.
However, our sources make it abundantly clear that ambition, in isolation, is a powerful but ultimately incomplete force. It's necessary, sure, but not sufficient for achieving your aspirations.
Right, you need more than just the dream.
You absolutely need concrete, consistent action to bridge that gap between aspiration and reality. And this is precisely where the lazy component manifests for so many of us.
The friction point.
We possess this incandescent ambition, a desire so profound it can almost ache, yet we find ourselves paralyzed, unable to take those essential steps forward.
It's incredibly frustrating.
This creates a deeply frustrating psychological state. You intensely desire something, you envision yourself achieving it, but you simultaneously feel an overwhelming reluctance, a heavy inertia when it comes to the actual work required.
Now let's turn to the other side of this perplexing coin. Laziness.
Okay.
It's a word often loaded with negative connotations, right? Frequently associated with moral failing or lack of character.
Yeah, people feel bad about it.
Totally.
Yeah.
But for the purpose of this deep dive, it's crucial to define it without judgment, seeing it as a behavior or a state rather than an inherent personal flaw.
That's a key distinction, behavior, not identity.
Exactly. Our sources characterize laziness as the feeling of not wanting to do something even when you know it's important.
Ah, that feeling.
It's that moment when you possess the requisite energy, the available time, and the clear understanding of what needs to be done, yet you actively choose not to expend the effort.
Like knowing you absolutely must study for a critical exam, but finding yourself scrolling endlessly through your phone instead.
Perfect example. Or the repeated declaration, I'll start my English practice tomorrow, even though a part of you genuinely yearns for linguistic mastery.
The tomorrow trap.
It is, at its core, the persistent habit of opting for inaction or low-effort activities when you are consciously aware that a more productive, goal-aligned task awaits.
Our sources actually delve deeper into this, categorizing laziness into 3 distinct yet interconnected types.
Right. Let's break those down.
First, there's physical laziness. This shows up as a pervasive disinclination to engage your body or participate in any active endeavors.
Like feeling glued to the sofa.
Exactly. You might experience a profound sense of fatigue or listlessness, even when you're not sick or haven't done much. It's that inertia keeping you anchored, despite knowing the benefits of movement. I know I should go for that walk or clean the house, but I
can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah. This type often stems from genuine physical fatigue, sure, but it can also become a learned avoidance pattern.
Okay, makes sense. What's the second type?
Building on that, the second type is mental laziness. This is characterized by an active avoidance of cognitive exertion or deep intellectual engagement.
So, avoiding hard thinking.
Pretty much. It's when your mind instinctively recoils from the prospect of learning something new, grappling with a complex problem, or completing a demanding analytical task.
Like a student suddenly stopping work on a tough assignment because it just feels too hard or boring.
Exactly that. Mental laziness is particularly insidious because it frequently disguises itself as genuine rest or a need for a break.
Sneak. Very. But its underlying motivation is the mind's profound resistance to effort, complexity, or sustained focus. Our sources explain this as the brain's default setting to conserve energy. It's a deeply ingrained survival mechanism.
So it prefers the easy path.
Demonstrably. It prefers familiar, low-effort cognitive pathways. When confronted with novelty or complexity, it often triggers a mild, subconscious threat response, actively discouraging engagement and encouraging mental retreat.
Wow. Okay, and the third type.
And finally, the third category is emotional laziness. This form, while less frequently discussed, is remarkably prevalent.
Emotional laziness, how does that work?
Emotional laziness involves a deliberate avoidance of confronting your feelings, addressing interpersonal conflicts, or engaging with difficult emotional realities in your life or relationships.
So avoiding the tough stuff emotionally.
Exactly. You might intuitively sense that something is amiss, that a situation requires attention, but instead of confronting it directly, you choose to suppress or ignore it.
Like sidestepping uncomfortable conversations.
Precisely. Or telling yourself, it's not that bad, or I'll deal with it later. But deep down, often subconsciously, you recognize you're just evading emotional discomfort and postponing necessary emotional labor.
which probably just makes things worse in the long run.
It often does. It can lead to accumulated unresolved issues and a pervasive sense of emotional backlog.
Okay, so when we put these definitions together, physical, mental, emotional laziness, what's the big takeaway?
So when we synthesize these definitions, what becomes abundantly clear, as our sources emphasize, is that laziness is normal. It is part of being human.
That's a huge relief to hear, honestly.
It really is. This is a crucial insight. Everyone experiences moments or even prolonged periods of inertia, from the most successful entrepreneurs to the most dedicated students.
It's not a personal failing.
It is not an inherent defect or a moral failing. It is a fundamental aspect of the human condition. In fact, sometimes what we call laziness is actually our body and mind signaling a genuine need.
Like needing rest.
Exactly. A need for rest, recovery from overwhelm, clarity in the face of confusion, or compassion during periods of sadness. And in these cases, honoring that need isn't lazy, it's self-preservation.
Right, smart self-care.
The challenge arises when this transient state of disinclination hardens into a pervasive habit that actively controls your decisions, consistently impeding your progress toward meaningful goals.
So occasional laziness, fine. Habitual laziness, problem.
You got it. While an occasional bout of unmotivation is entirely benign, if you find yourself feeling perpetually unmotivated, tired, or stuck on a daily basis, then it truly becomes a pattern worthy of focused attention and strategic intervention.
And being honest with yourself about it.
Absolutely vital. Cultivate honest self-awareness, because often what we label as laziness is a superficial symptom, masking deeper underlying issues like fear, a lack of clarity, or just chronic low energy.
Okay, so when you combine that powerful ambition we talked about with this heavy drag of laziness.
You get this really unique and deeply frustrating psychological state we're discussing.
Right. It's an internal dichotomy where you intensely desire something. The vision is vivid and compelling.
You can see it clearly.
Yet, for some reason, you find yourself utterly unable to translate that desire into tangible action. You spend your days dreaming about breakthrough success, maybe a thriving new career, or effortlessly conversing in English.
Living the dream in your head.
But in the harsh light of reality, you continue to engage in the same comfortable, low-effort routines. Binge-watching TV, scrolling mindlessly through social media, or perpetually deferring progress with the convenient mantra of tomorrow.
That tomorrow again, it's a killer.
You feel that potent internal fire, that yearning for more, but it remains unignited, unused, unable to propel you forward into the very life you envision.
It's like having a high-performance engine in your car, but constantly running out of fuel or forgetting to engage the gears.
Exactly. Which brings us to a critical point for self-reflection. Can you, listening right now, truly relate to this specific internal experience?
Let's consider Sarah. A vibrant individual, meticulously plans to study abroad, knows fluent English is her golden ticket. She follows language teachers online, downloads apps, makes a detailed study schedule.
Sounds super organized.
Totally. But when the designated study time arrives, she invariably finds herself opening Instagram, getting lost. She keeps telling herself, I'll genuinely start tomorrow, yet tomorrow never quite comes for the actual work.
Her ambition is strong, but the inertia wins in the moment.
Exactly. Her ambition is a bright flame, but her laziness, that inertia, proves stronger in that moment of decision. Or take Ally, who envisions launching a successful online business.
Yep.
He devours videos on digital marketing, reads success stories, talks excitedly about his vision, but when faced with the actual tasks, building the website, creating the product, he does nothing.
Just stays in the planning phase.
Right. Repeatedly rationalizing, I just don't feel ready yet. These examples powerfully illustrate that profound disconnect between a fervent desire and a persistent inability to act consistently.
And it's not about being a bad person.
Not at all. It's a deeply human struggle to consistently translate profound aspiration into tangible, sustained effort.
The sources offer an incredibly profound and honestly comforting insight here, one that really resonates. You're not broken, you're just human.
That's so important to hear.
This intricate interplay, this mix of soaring ambition and heavy inertia, isn't an anomaly. It is an incredibly common and utterly normal aspect of the human psychological landscape.
It's okay to feel both.
You are perfectly capable of experiencing both intense drive and profound reluctance simultaneously. You can want growth and still feel stuck. You can dream big and still find the first step overwhelming.
Understanding this, truly internalizing that you're ambitious but also humanly prone to moments of laziness, is the fundamental first step toward initiating genuine change.
It lets you approach it differently.
Absolutely. This compassionate self-recognition allows you to approach this challenge not with debilitating shame or self-condemnation, but with a more honest, gentle, and strategic perspective.
Less judgment, more strategy.
Exactly. It's about acknowledging the pattern without judgment and then consciously and proactively working with it, finding incremental ways to take even the smallest, most manageable actions toward your cherished goals. Observing the behavior, then consciously choosing to redirect your energy.
So now that we've clearly defined what it means to be ambitious yet prone to inaction, the next truly critical question naturally arises. Why? Why does this paradox happen?
The root causes.
Why do we hold such expansive aspirations, yet consistently find it challenging, often overwhelmingly so, to initiate or sustain the necessary action? It's complex, operating on multiple levels, but our sources pinpoint several common, deeply resonant reasons.
And understanding these is key because it shifts your approach from self-blame to strategic problem solving.
Exactly. It moves us away from beating ourselves up and empowers us with a framework for actually tackling it.
Because only when you accurately identify the true root cause of your inaction can you formulate targeted and impactful interventions. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels, treating symptoms.
Okay, let's dive into a big one. Fear of failure.
Oh yeah, this is huge.
An immense hurdle for countless individuals. Many ambitious people simply don't begin or even fully commit because they are profoundly afraid of not succeeding.
That what-if spiral.
Imagine someone desperately wanting fluent English for a better job, yet they're constantly plagued by anxieties about making mistakes, being ridiculed or judged.
Like, what if I sound stupid?
Exactly. What if I use the wrong verb tense and sound foolish? Or what if I apply for that job and get rejected, proving I'm not good enough? So rather than risk that potential pain, that embarrassment or rejection,
They choose inaction. It feels safer.
right, they avoid the emotional discomfort and potential ego blow by simply not trying at all.
And this phenomenon, as our sources explain, isn't laziness from lack of caring. It's a profound paralysis induced by fear.
Paralysis is a good word for it.
The individual actively avoids starting specifically to circumvent the possibility of failure, even when their ambition is incredibly strong. This fear can be so psychologically overwhelming, it overrides even intense motivation.
And sometimes this fear looks like perfectionism.
Absolutely. Our sources highlight that. For some, the internal standard is so impossibly high that the mere thought of not meeting it perfectly triggers complete inaction. They'd rather do nothing than risk a less than perfect outcome.
Which is still rooted in that fear. Okay, what's another major reason?
Another pervasive one, often linked with fear, is procrastination.
Ah, the classic. Putting things off.
Continually, it's that familiar internal dialogue, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll definitely start next week. But for many, later never comes.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all are. You find yourself consistently identifying something else, anything else, to focus on suddenly needing to deep clean the kitchen instead of writing that report.
Or the classic, just check my phone for a minute that turns into an hour.
Exactly. It's that insidious habit of choosing an easy, often unimportant activity over the critical task you know is vital for your progress.
Why do we do that, though? It seems counterintuitive.
Indeed. Our sources reveal that procrastination is a sophisticated psychological trick your brain plays on itself. It creates the illusion that you will do it later, offering immediate relief from the discomfort of starting now.
So it lets you off the hook temporarily.
Precisely. It's a subtle, almost subconscious way of making excuses without fully realizing it. This makes it a potent trap for the ambitious but lazy individual, allowing them to keep the idea of productivity alive while avoiding the actual effort.
Maintaining the self-image without the work.
You got it. Often linked to hyperbolic discounting, our brains prioritizing small, immediate rewards like scrolling pleasure over larger, delayed rewards like achieving a big goal.
Interesting. Okay, fear, procrastination.
Yeah.
What else? Then there's the critical element of lack of discipline.
This one's tricky.
Discipline, at its core, is doing what you need to do, even when you genuinely don't feel like it. A common pitfall is perpetually waiting for motivation to strike.
Waiting for the muse.
Right. But motivation is fickle, inconsistent. If your action depends solely on feeling ready or inspired, you won't act often because feelings are unreliable drivers for consistent progress.
It's like waiting for perfect sailing weather. Sometimes you just have to set sail in a drizzle. Discipline, conversely, as our sources explain, is less a moral issue and more a skill you can build, like a muscle.
Okay, so it's trainable.
Very much so. It's fundamentally about establishing and sticking to predictable habits and routines that bypass the unreliability of fleeting motivation.
Like the language learner who studies 15 minutes every morning, tired or not.
Exactly. They do it regardless of mood. Someone lacking discipline studies only when in the mood, which might be rarely. Without this consistent, deliberate effort, even the most ambitious person can stay stuck, relying on emotion instead of dependable systems.
And habits are key here.
Absolutely. Our sources talk about habit loops, the cue, routine, reward as the building blocks. It's about consciously designing these loops to make the desired action the easiest or most automatic choice. Automating behavior beats relying on willpower every time.
Okay, that makes sense. Then there's the modern world's contribution.
Yes. Too many distractions.
They are everywhere.
Yeah.
Ubiquitous. Phones pinging, social media feeds, YouTube rabbit holes, video games, messages.
The constant barrage.
You sit down intending to study English or work on a project, a notification pops up, bing! And before you know it, 30 minutes, an hour, gone.
Vanished into the digital ether. You didn't plan to waste time, but you were effortlessly pulled away, your attention hijacked.
Why are they so powerful?
This is a profound challenge. Our brains are inherently wired for quick entertainment and instant gratification. This neurological preference makes it remarkably easy to divert attention from effortful tasks like learning or deep work.
Our brains like the easy stuff.
They do. This powerful force subtly pulls us away from our ambitions, often subconsciously, draining time and mental energy. Our sources delve into the neuroscience of attention, explaining how apps are meticulously designed to hijack focus with intermittent variable rewards, making them incredibly addictive.
So what can we do about that?
Practical strategies help. Creating a dedicated focus space, quiet and uncluttered, turning off all non-essential notifications, physically putting your phone in another room.
Even small changes help.
Monumentally. Even just 20-30 minutes of uninterrupted focus can vastly amplify productivity and reduce that scattered feeling.
Okay, now sometimes it feels like laziness, but maybe it's something else.
Exactly. Sometimes what appears as laziness is, in a deeper sense, simply low energy or chronic stress.
Right, maybe you're not sleeping well or exhausted from work, family stuff, personal issues.
When your body or mind is genuinely depleted, even normally simple tasks suddenly feel monumental, overwhelmingly difficult.
You might beat yourself up, I'm just being lazy,
Yeah.
but maybe you genuinely need rest.
Precisely. Or you could be navigating profound sadness, anxiety, or stress that's severely depleting your mental and emotional reserves, leaving no energy to focus on ambitions. It's a common misdiagnosis of our own state.
That's such an important point. It's not always a choice.
You've hit on a critical point. Our sources strongly emphasize this doesn't mean you're inherently lazy. It underscores you're human, subject to limitations. It's entirely acceptable to have days where energy is low, stress is high, or you need to recover.
Recognizing that allows for self-compassion.
Exactly. Instead of self-condemnation. It reframes the narrative from a moral failing to an observable state needing thoughtful attention, like any fatigue or illness.
Yeah.
Sources even show chronic stress can physically alter neural pathways for motivation, making it genuinely harder to act.
So lack of will might actually be a depleted cognitive resource.
Precisely.
What's truly insightful, and maybe a bit sobering, is how these reasons rarely operate alone. They often combine.
Oh, absolutely. What's fascinating here is how these factors often weave together into a deeply entrenched, self-perpetuating cycle.
Like, you fear speaking English imperfectly,
So you procrastinate practicing,
which leads you to distract yourself on your phone.
losing valuable hours.
And by day's end, you've made no progress, feel exhausted and weighed down by guilt.
It's a complex web where each reason feeds another, creating an incredibly difficult cycle to break free from. Have you ever found yourself in that specific pattern? Planning something important, then doing something easy and unproductive instead, ending up frustrated?
I think most people can relate to that cycle.
It vividly illustrates the inherent battle. One part of you yearns to grow, achieve, expand, while another, often more primitive part, seeks comfort, rest, or hides from discomfort or challenge.
And both parts are real.
Undeniably real and valid. The fundamental key to untangling this is radical honesty with yourself. Don't just label yourself lazy, ask probing questions. Am I truly afraid? Am I avoiding this because it feels overwhelming? Am I letting distractions rule, or am I genuinely exhausted?
Getting to the real reason.
When you invest the time and courage to uncover the authentic underlying reason, you then possess the precise leverage to take targeted, manageable steps for meaningful change, rather than staying trapped in self-criticism and inertia. This deep self-inquiry is the first step towards liberation.
Okay, so we've explored what it means to be ambitious but lazy and why it happens. Now let's pivot to something crucial: how this state actually affects your life.
Yeah, the consequences.
The immediate effects might not always be glaringly obvious, maybe like a slowly eroding coastline, but over time, this persistent lack of action, this deferment of dreams, can accumulate. It can have a truly significant impact on your future, your happiness, your mental well-being.
It's a slow but powerful erosion of who you could become. This is a critical phase. It prompts a vital question for you, the listener. What specific long-term consequences of inaction truly stand out to you when you reflect on this pattern in your own life?
Yeah, what resonates personally?
It's about developing that acute self-awareness to recognize these cumulative effects, which often build imperceptibly, like small drops of water wearing away stone. Rarely dramatic overnight shifts, but a slow undermining of aspirations.
Let's consider the direct impact on your goals.
Okay.
Every aspiration, learning a language, starting a business, getting fit, changing careers, fundamentally demands consistent incremental action.
Can't wish them into existence.
Exactly. When the inertia of laziness dominates, you simply fail to take those essential steps. You say tomorrow, or I'm too trained. But if this repeats day after day, week after week,
Your goals don't just stay put, they actively recede, move further away.
it's like falling behind in a race while watching others progress. This can lead to a deeply painful blow to your confidence, eroding your belief in your own capacity to achieve.
The gap between ambition and reality widens, leading to profound self-doubt. And in the competitive professional world, action speaks louder than ambition alone.
Right, ambition isn't enough at work.
Laziness, in this context, can lead to missed deadlines, avoiding new learning, skipping crucial advancement opportunities. You might have immense talent, great ideas, huge potential.
But if you don't apply them,
If you don't manifest them through diligent effort, your capabilities remain largely unnoticed and unrewarded. This often results in stagnating in the same role for years, not due to lack of intelligence, but unfulfilled potential.
leading to disappointment, regret.
Profound disappointment, and even deep, lingering regret looking back at missed possibilities. Our sources underscore that visibility and progress at work are inextricably linked to demonstrated initiative and consistent output. Neither flourishes in the shadow of inaction.
And it impacts our physical selves too, right? Your health.
Hugely. Many people aspire to be healthier, eating better, exercising, sleeping more.
Common goals?
Very. But laziness makes it all too easy to skip workouts, choose convenient junk food, or sacrifice sleep for distractions. These choices might seem minor individually,
But they add up.
insidiously, over time. This consistent pattern can manifest in pervasive tiredness, chronically low energy, and eventually serious, preventable health problems. It's a stark demo of how small, consistent acts of inaction lead to significant negative outcomes.
And physical and mental health are linked.
Deeply connected. As our sources highlight, they're not separate, they're in a continuous feedback loop. When your body feels sluggish, unwell, fatigued, your mind follows suit, diminishing clarity, resilience, overall well-being.
Creating a cycle.
A self-reinforcing cycle of decreased vitality. The energy lacking for ambitions is often the same energy needed to tend to your physical self. When physical health declines, it impacts mental bandwidth and motivation, perpetuating the loop. It's holistic.
This next area, your happiness and emotional well-being, this is where it gets really interesting and maybe hits hardest.
Yeah, the internal experience.
When you have big dreams but don't act, you feel immense pervasive frustration. You know you want more, but you're stuck in the same routines, feeling stagnant.
That internal dissonance is stressful.
Exactly. This chasm between aspiration and reality generates immense inner stress. Over time, this simmering frustration can evolve into debilitating guilt.
That negative self-talk kicks in.
Why am I wasting my time? Why can't I just do what I need to do? This constant, harsh internal dialogue profoundly erodes self-esteem, leaving you feeling less capable, less worthy, deeply disappointed in yourself.
And this negative self-talk is more than just unpleasant. It's a powerful narrative that can make you genuinely believe you're not capable or strong enough.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Very much so. Our sources describe this self-reinforcing cycle. More delay leads to more guilt and disappointment. The worse you feel about yourself, the harder it is to summon the energy or courage to act.
A vicious loop.
Trapped.
Yeah.
Initial motivation vanishes, confidence shatters, and the grand dream starts to feel utterly impossible, an unattainable fantasy, even if the desire still persists deep down. Crucially, this cycle erodes trust in your own ability to grow and change. You stop believing in yourself.
Wow. And then there are the missed opportunities.
Right. Laziness often causes us to simply miss out. Maybe a colleague invited you to a relevant workshop, but you didn't feel like it.
Or you let a scholarship deadline slide by.
Or you kept meaning to join that English-speaking club but never got around to it. Real, tangible opportunities that just pass by unseized.
They seem small at the time.
Exactly. But it's crucial to understand these seemingly small, isolated choices accumulate with profound long-term consequences. Every missed opportunity, networking, learning, practicing is like a closed door, a path not taken.
And later you might regret it.
Inevitably. You might reflect and wish with profound regret you had simply tried. Sources highlight the biggest regrets often aren't failures, but chances never taken, potential left dormant due to inertia.
Okay, and one final impact.
Loss of focus. When you habitually fail to act on significant goals, your mind fills the void with distractions. Hours watching videos, scrolling social media, jumping between low-value activities.
Mind wandering.
This constant mental meandering, this bombardment of fragmented stimuli, progressively weakens your fundamental ability to concentrate. Your brain gets conditioned to easy stimulation, making even relatively simple but necessary tasks feel overwhelmingly difficult.
Your focus muscle atrophies.
Exactly, like a muscle that weakens from lack of strenuous use. So if we connect this all together, the overarching insight from our sources is liberating. You are not lazy at your core.
That's powerful. Laziness is behavior, not identity.
Precisely. It's a behavior, a learned pattern, a series of choices, and crucially, it's a pattern that can be decisively changed. The pivotal first step is courageously and honestly observing how this pattern affects your life, but without guilt or shame.
Asking tough questions, honestly.
Are you falling behind on cherished goals? Is your focus fractured? Are you living below your potential? If yes, it signifies time to embrace responsibility, not by blaming, but by understanding the mechanics of your inaction.
You have the ambition, the dreams.
The transformative work lies in meticulously building supportive habits and cultivating the empowering mindset to align with those aspirations. And the truly good news, emphatically underscored by our sources, is it's absolutely not too late. The power to shift lies within your grasp.
Okay, we've journeyed through the meaning, causes, and effects. Now we arrive at the most vital part. How do we overcome this?
The how-to, the practical steps.
How do we move from dreaming to doing, from planning to taking action? The genuinely liberating news, as our sources reveal, is profound change is possible, but it doesn't require an overnight transformation or becoming a totally different person.
No magic wands needed.
Right. It's about embracing simple, incremental steps, small, consistent actions that empower you to move forward every single day, even and especially when you don't feel like it.
Designing systems for success, not waiting for motivation. That's precisely the crucial point. This raises the fundamental question. How do we effectively translate that powerful ambition into a consistent flow of manageable, incremental action?
How do we make it happen?
Our sources provide incredibly practical, empirically backed, and profoundly realistic tips. They shift the focus from relying on intermittent inspiration to systematically building momentum through sustainable, low-friction efforts, engineering your environment and habits.
Okay, let's get practical. First, strategy.
Let's start with the cornerstone. Set small goals.
Break it down.
Exactly. A sprawling, ambitious dream, while exciting, can feel overwhelming, paralyzing. If speaking English fluently feels like climbing Everest.
Focus on the first few steps.
Precisely. Instead of fixating on the peak, shift focus to manageable steps. Rather than study for 2 hours, which your brain might resist, try something approachable. Learn 5 new English words today, or listen to an English podcast for just 10 minutes.
Specific, achievable actions. Minimum viable effort.
You got it. What's the absolute smallest thing you can do to make progress? These smaller goals achieve multiple things. They feel less daunting, less likely to trigger resistance.
And they give you quick wins.
Immediate, tangible, quick wins. And every small win, no matter how minor, accumulates into a powerful current of momentum. It's about making the first step feel so doable, so inconsequential, that your brain is more inclined to initiate it.
Overcoming that initial inertia.
Which is consistently the hardest part. Each small success releases a tiny hit of dopamine, reinforcing the positive behavior, making you more likely to repeat it.
Okay, small goals. What else?
Another incredibly effective yet deceptively simple strategy: use a to-do list.
Old school but effective.
Simple but powerful. Writing tasks down makes them clear, concrete, manageable, preventing that overwhelming feeling of mental clutter. When it's all in your head, it's easy to forget or feel stuck.
Writing it down externalizes it.
Exactly. Organized, clear. Begin each day identifying just 3 simple, achievable tasks. Read 1 English article, practice speaking for 5 minutes, watch a short video with subtitles.
And checking them off feels good.
That physical act of checking provides an immediate feeling of progress, a potent motivator propelling you forward.
Right. We also talked about environment.
Crucial. Our sources strongly emphasize remove distractions. Your surroundings have immense, often subconscious power to pull your attention away.
Phone, the noise.
Constant lures. To combat this, meticulously create a focus space. A quiet corner, notifications off, phone in another room if possible.
Does it make that much difference?
Even 20-30 minutes distraction-free can yield disproportionately large gains in productivity and concentration. Allows for genuine, deep work. Less friction to starting means you're more likely to engage.
Okay, manage distractions. What about rewards?
Yes. Engage your brain's reward system directly. Reward yourself.
Don't wait till the end.
No. Strategically reward yourself after completing each small incremental task. After 20 minutes study, enjoy a healthy snack, a short walk, your favorite song.
It's not just indulgence.
It's highly strategic, scientifically supported. By consistently connecting action completion with immediate pleasure, you train your brain to forge a strong, positive association between the behavior and reward.
Making the task more appealing.
Exactly. Learning or working becomes linked with pleasure, increasing the likelihood you'll repeat it. Small, immediate rewards are powerful reinforcers, reducing the mental friction of starting.
Okay, this next one feels important. Stay consistent, not perfect.
Oh, this is a game changer for many.
So many people fall into the perfectionism trap, right?
Yeah.
Give up after one missed day. I failed. Why bother?
And they abandon everything. But sustained success is rarely about flawless perfection. It's profoundly about consistently showing up day after day in some capacity.
So if you miss a day,
It's not catastrophic failure, it's a moment to reset. No self-recrimination, just commit to returning the next day. You don't need to do everything, just do something.
even 10 minutes counts.
Infinitely more valuable than aiming for a perfect 2-hour session that never happens. Keep moving forward, even slowly. Any progress, no matter how minuscule, is real progress.
And there are specific techniques for this.
To support consistency, sources highlight simple, effective productivity habits, like the Pomodoro technique.
25 minutes on, 5 minutes off.
Elegantly simple. Select a task, timer for 25 minutes, work without interruption, mandatory 5-minute break. Repeat. After 4, longer break. Great for focus, prevents fatigue, structures time.
Makes tasks less daunting.
Clear beginning and end. Another powerful habit. The 2-minute rule.
If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now.
Exactly. Reply to a brief email, jot down a goal, review vocabulary. These seemingly trivial actions accumulate, build momentum, reduce procrastination by clearing tiny, lingering tasks. Primes you for bigger effort.
Okay, as we wrap this section up, the mindset shift seems crucial.
Vital. Especially if you feel caught in inertia, stuck, tired. Remember this powerful truth. You are not your laziness.
It's a state, not who you are.
A transient state, a behavior, not your core identity. You possess ambition, a dream, and even if the path feels daunting, you can move forward one deliberate step at a time.
No need to be fast or perfect.
Your only imperative is to begin. The road to success isn't big leaps, it's small, consistent steps daily. Maybe today's step is just opening your English notebook, listening to one short podcast, practicing one sentence. That's enough for now.
Just start.
The most profound thing you can do is simply start. And that initial act is almost universally the hardest part. Inertia, resistance, peak right before you begin.
So even on lazy days.
Make a tiny promise. Commit to just 5 minutes. I'll just do this for 5 minutes. What sources consistently show is, more often than not, Once you overcome that initial friction, you'll naturally continue longer.
Getting started is half the battle.
Once your brain engages, it's easier to maintain momentum. So focus strategically on progress, not perfection. Learning, growth aren't linear races, they're winding journeys.
Ups and downs are normal.
Totally normal and acceptable. Cultivate self-kindness. If you didn't study yesterday, don't let guilt consume you. Acknowledge it, and with renewed resolve, begin again today. You truly have every internal resource needed to commence.
Let's illustrate this with Lena's story from the sources.
Great example. Lena, like many listeners, was deeply ambitious, yet struggled with inaction, dreamed of fluent English for an international job,
Knew its importance, articulated her plans.
bought textbooks, downloaded apps, watched videos, full of initial motivation. But when it came to consistent studying or practicing,
She found it hard to start.
felt tired, got easily distracted by social media, TV, her recurring mantra, "I'll definitely start tomorrow,"
A tomorrow that never really arrived for action.
leaving her frustrated, disappointed, lost on how to genuinely move forward.
But then she had a breakthrough.
One pivotal day, she decided, this cycle must change. Recognized waiting for motivation was ineffective, remembered advice. Start small and build habits slowly.
So she made a tiny plan.
Incredibly simple. Study English for precisely 5 minutes daily. Just 5 minutes, she told herself. So minimal, so unthreatening, she believed she could stick to it, even on tired days.
Was it easy at first?
Not effortless. Some days she forgot, moments inertia returned, but she kept trying. After about a week, a remarkable shift. She noticed she could easily study longer, 10, 15 minutes, almost without effort.
She started tasting success.
Savored these small successes. Tracking daily study on a calendar built pride. Slowly, studying transformed from a dreaded chore into an ingrained habit.
And she made it enjoyable, too.
Ingeniously. Found ways to infuse joy, watched captivating English shows with subtitles, immersed herself in music, talked with friends sharing her goals. Learning didn't have to be a grind.
And used rewards.
Crucially, small, immediate rewards after each session. A treat, relaxation. More than just pleasant. Vital, psychologically, sustained motivation forged a positive connection between learning and pleasure, made her look forward to it.
And the mindset shift.
Most importantly, a profound mindset transformation. Released the belief she needed perfection or to do everything at once. Focused steadfastly on consistent progress. Reassured herself, it's okay to make mistakes. Every small, imperfect step counts.
That positive self-talk became her anchor.
Enabled her to persevere even on tired or overwhelmed days.
And the results.
Truly remarkable. After several months of this consistent small steps approach, Lena's English proficiency improved dramatically. Confidence surged, comprehension deepened. Ultimately, she felt empowered enough to apply for a demanding international job requiring daily English use.
Wow. Her journey really shows the power of those small steps.
A testament to incremental action. She understood ambition is the spark, but disciplined, consistent application of even the smallest actions creates the biggest differences. Her story vividly shows ambition and inertia can coexist.
But you choose which wins each day.
Exactly. Even if you wake up feeling unmotivated or lazy, remember those tiny steps accumulate into colossal progress. You don't need a surge of motivation to begin. You simply need to take that very first step. #outro.
This deep dive into the ambitious but lazy paradox reveals a profound truth. You are absolutely not alone in experiencing this internal conflict.
So common.
It's a common, deeply human experience, a shared thread. But as we've explored today, it does not mean you are weak, inherently flawed, or destined to fail.
Not at all.
Rather, it underscores your fundamental humanity. Everyone confronts challenges, navigates doubt, feels the urge to give up sometimes.
It's part of the journey.
But what truly matters, what defines your trajectory, is your unwavering commitment to keep trying, to keep showing up. The powerful dream within you is significant and profoundly worthy of your consistent effort.
What's truly fascinating, and often underestimated, is the transformative power inherent in the smallest conceivable step.
That tiny first action.
You are not required to overhaul your entire life in a single day. You do not need to strive for unattainable perfection. Your only imperative is to take one singular step today.
Maybe learning one word.
Or reading one sentence, listening to one short podcast segment. That solitary step, no matter how minute, is the indispensable start of your unique journey. And once you begin, possibilities expand exponentially.
Remember this guiding principle. Every single grand success, every monumental achievement invariably commences with small, often unglamorous, consistent actions.
They all started somewhere.
Even the greatest individuals began precisely where you are now, with the courage to take a single step forward. The paramount thing is to maintain forward momentum, keep moving, even when it feels hard, when doubt creeps in.
Keep showing up.
Cultivate the habit of celebrating your small victories, no matter how minor. Be profoundly kind to yourself throughout this process, acknowledging your efforts in humanity, and most crucially, do not give up.
This deep exploration leaves us with a potent, provocative question for you to genuinely consider. What is one singularly tiny, almost insignificant action, a micro-commitment, that you can take today, right now, that directly aligns with your biggest, most cherished ambition?
Don't overthink it. Just that one small thing.
What can you commit to right now?
You are inherently capable. You are undeniably worthy. And you possess the profound, intrinsic power to orchestrate meaningful change in your life, one deliberate, courageous step at a time.
Believe in that power.
Cultivate unwavering belief in yourself and keep moving forward. The future, the one you envision, is patiently waiting for you to build it.